Hey everybody, it's John Lunn here, aka Jonnychipz. It's week 4 of 2021. The date is the 22nd of January 2021, and this is Jonnychipz Weekly. Yeah, so hi everybody, thanks so much for joining me again on my number 4 Jonnychipz Weekly. So really excited to get stuck in today. Again, had a bit of a bumper of a week over the last 7 days. There's been lots going on in the world of Azure, so we'll kick off in a second with some Azure updates before we move on to the goings on with the Welsh Azure user group and into a bit of a community call out. And then finally we'll wrap things up again today with Jonnychipz on the side, just give you a little bit of an insight to some of the little bits and pieces I've got going on and what I've been up to over the last week. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So then, let's look at some Azure updates. Okay, so this week we've had quite a bumper week of Azure updates. In total, I think we've had 27 updates. I'm not going to go through them all verbatim now today and read into them. So I urge you all to go to the Azure Updates URL there at the top of the screen. But I'll quickly run through them so you can get a bit of a feel. So we've got some updates on Azure boards, so new enhancements. We've got the public preview of Azure cluster upgrades for AKS, public preview of log analytics in the UAE Central and Japan West. There's been some application insights going to public preview in Japan West. Azure automation is available in Switzerland West, and so on and so forth. Like I say, I'll scroll down these so you can see them all on the screen. As I go, I'll call out anything that I think is related to something that I might be looking at the moment. But okay, that's an interesting one. So Network Monitor Insights have now gone GA, so for Azure Monitor. Okay, some changes in Azure Monitor logs for the Azure Diagnostics table is now available. Okay, so they're just up in the sizes that you can look at. So yeah, like I say, there's 27 this week, so I'm not going to spend time in going through them all one by one because a lot of them are related to Asia Pac region as well. So yeah, I'll urge you really just for this week's Azure updates to jump on the Azure Updates URL for the purposes of trying to keep this weekly update as concise as possible and not go into the 20-30 minutes that I've been doing the last few weeks. This would probably take a good hour at least really to run through at a high level. So yeah, like I say, jump on there, take a look. 27 updates since last week, which is you can see the way that Azure is going at the moment. It's expanding increasingly. Okay, so on that note then, let's just jump across into a little bit of an update on the Welsh Azure user group. Okay, so as you know, we had our meetup yesterday, so the 21st, we had our January meetup where we had Christos Maskas talking about Azure Identity for developers, which was a fantastic session. Christos took us through basically how you can add authentication to your web apps, to your development, to your software, whatever it is that you need to add authentication to. He kind of outlined exactly how simple it was and showed us a few demos with going on to kind of the Azure AD portal, getting some demo code up, whether it's a Node.js, whether it's a Blazor web app, whatever it is that you're looking to add authentication to. Christos took us through really some easy ways to really get started with that. So, I urge you to check that out. Equally, we had Graham Martin on from Microsoft. He's a cloud solutions architect in the UK here. He gave us a great overview of where Synapse is now today, coming from that whole data warehouse perspective, and then he gave us a great overview of what was going on with Azure PureView, which was the new service that was released just before Christmas. So jump onto my blog. I put a blog up about it, put some links and some detail of what the session was. We had some great fun at the end. We had a couple of prizes. In fact, I've got to announce the second prize winner, which I'm hoping to do at some point today. But £50 Amazon vouchers, Microsoft exam vouchers. If you're interested, go and watch this session. It's on the YouTube channel there. Click play. I bookmarked the 2 sessions so you can see Christos' session and Graham's session if that's of interest to you. Great sessions. I urge you to look at that. If you want to join up to the group, please do feel free to reach out to me. Go to our LinkedIn page. Go to the meetup group. And on that note, you'll know that I was quite excited last week about the February event. So I've already announced it across a social platform, but I mean, I don't know really how else to say this, but really privileged and honoured really to have both John Saville and Scott Hanselman joining us for the February event. I'm gobsmacked really that the guys actually said yes and were willing to support the group, which thank you. That's all I can really say at the moment. It's great to see that. I mean, it's going to be really, really interesting sessions from both John and Scott. I mean, we've got Scott kicking off where he's going to talk us through his own blog website, effectively. He's where he's moved it to a Linux platform using containers in Azure. So he's going to take us through that story, which is going to be a great sort of overview, how you can kind of stitch all of these parts of the technologies in Azure together. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that from Scott. And equally, John is going to talk us through really what do you do in the event that your Azure resources fail, or how do you really cement that resiliency in Azure. So both Scott and John have got some really good sessions there they're going to take us through on the 18th of February. We're going to be starting a little bit earlier at 6 p.m. But I mean, personally, I'm worried that the Teams meeting is going to fill up, but we will work that out if we get to that point. But yeah, we've got some really good uptake at the moment. Keep it coming, guys. If more people come, we will do our very best to facilitate everybody, of course. So that was the really exciting news that I had last week, and I hope you'll agree it's pretty damn exciting. So looking forward to that. Equally, on the Welsh Azure user group, we're not stopping at February. We're already into March and April. So you'll know, I think last week I mentioned that we were putting out a call for speakers. We're trying to foster that kind of homegrown talent, if you like. So those speakers that are new to the scene, looking to come and say something at a user group, but maybe don't have 45 minutes worth of collateral or presentation. Lightning talk. So I think we've had quite an overwhelming response already, but we're not going to leave it there. We're going to leave it open a little while longer, and definitely lightning talks in March, and we're probably going to move that over into April as well, because we've had so many responses. So like I say, it's open. Go to that URL at the top of the page. If you want to submit a session, jump on, submit a session. We will love to have you at the group, obviously speaking, and give you that opportunity. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. There's lots going on always. Like I say, reach out to us on Twitter at Welsh Azure. Please follow us. We've got a LinkedIn group if you search for that as well. You can find us on LinkedIn where we post updates and things like that. So that's the roundup of the Welsh Azure user group. So it's all been pretty good, to be honest. There's been lots going on. So hope you'll see that the bottom line is we're starting to get some really good traction with the user group. We're getting a really great following. We've got some fantastic people that kind of have stuck around since the beginning, and massively supportive regulars. So it's great to see you guys every month joining the sessions, and please do keep up with that. Okay, next call out, community call outs. Right, okay, so for this week I thought I'd kick things off with Cloud Skills FM. So I was approached by Mike Pfeiffer. I'm going to join him next week to have a chat about my journey and where I'm going. I'm really excited by that, and thanks, Mike, for inviting me on. Looking forward to it as ever. So Cloud Skills FM, for those of you who don't know, cloudskills.io is a training company. They provide a whole raft of cloud-based training, and Cloud Skills FM is the podcast that I think Mike does as part of that, and it's been running now for a few years. He's had some really prevalent guests on there, so I urge you to check out Mike. I've started listening to a few of the podcasts. I think you can see he's up to around about the 100 podcast mark now, so have a flick back through. You'll probably see some familiar names, maybe some unfamiliar names, but I can guarantee you, I've probably listened to 3 or 4 of them so far, and there's some really good insights from community members, from professionals across the industry. Mike's having a chat with all of those guys, so I'm quite honoured that Mike's actually asked me to come on and have a chat with him, to be honest. So looking forward to that. Like I say, Cloud Skills IO is the training company that Mike is part of. So check those guys out. And I know at the moment they've just announced that they've got a Cloud Native DevOps Bootcamp, which I believe is starting in February. So I can see the cost of it is really good. I think they've got a discount going on at the moment. So take that link, jump on it, go and have a look. Some really good DevOps, some PowerShell, some great training over a 10-week. I think it's a session each week for 10 weeks. So I'm very tempted to get signed up for that myself. In fact, I probably will. So go and take a look at that, guys. Also in the community, I wanted to call out the IT Ops team. So for those of you that don't know, Rick Claus is he's kind of like the advocate lead, if you like, for a whole group of great cloud advocates, not only in the UK but globally. I mean, I follow a few of the guys on Twitter, and the content that they're producing, the information they're giving out, is second to none. What they're doing is they're trying to reinvent a little bit of how we deliver content out to the community. So go and follow this Twitter account. Take a look at this blog post. So Rick has written a blog post around what it's all about. So they've got an All Things Hybrid event happening on the 2nd of February, where they've effectively got content from all these great people across the community and Microsoft to basically present a number of different sessions you can see covering Azure Security Center, Sentinel, Secure SMB, so on and so forth. There's some great sessions. I've just had a quick read through, and there's definitely sessions I'm going to be jumping on. But I think the idea is that no matter when you're consuming this content, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe the content's going to be recorded and available to all. However, when you're watching and consuming that content, you'll have access to a chat channel where some of these guys or some of Rick's team are going to be on hand to answer in real time any questions or thoughts or considerations you may have, which, I mean, it's a great format. I'm not sure if I've got that exactly right, but go and read Rick's blog post. And I think he's saying at the end, stay tuned. Yeah, follow the Twitter account, I think he says at the end here. So yeah, stay tuned for further news for the Feb 2nd release. So that's only in a couple of weeks. So obviously that's going to be some great information on hybrid, which, you know, clearly is on the rise at the moment. So brilliant news on that front. Right, the other person I want to call out is Shabazz Dar. So, I mean, I've spoken with Shabazz now over the last sort of 6 months or so, and he's been doing some great stuff in the community himself. He's got his own YouTube channel where he's releasing some brilliant content from Azure Identity Management. I think he's got some MFA stuff going on at the moment. I noticed the other night. But follow Shabazz. He's speaking at a number of user groups at the moment. I believe he's speaking at the Scottish Summit. And also some other user groups globally. So he's a great guy. He's got some great content, and I know he's also just set up the Bradford Cloud user group. So of course, in the virtual world, it kind of doesn't matter. We can all jump in and say hello to each other. But if you are in the vicinity of Bradford, you know, I urge you to go and reach out to Shabazz or Imran. So he's Saj, Shabazz and Imran are running the Bradford Cloud user group. So I just thought I'd give those guys a mention because they've been so brilliant over the last few months with me, supporting me and my antics online. And to be honest, Shabazz and Imran equally, the stuff that they give back to the community is fantastic. So if you're not already following them, you probably should be. And I think that was all I was going to cover from a community call out. Looking at the clock, 13 minutes in. So yeah, like I say, hopefully that's of some use now that I've given you from the perspective of what I see is going on in the community. Obviously there's far more than that going on in the community, but it's just too long that there's so many people I'd like to say thank you to and hello to and call out, because there's some fantastic people. If you're not already following me, please follow me on Twitter, and I like and share as much as I can on Twitter just to kind of spread the word of when I see some good content that resonates with me. I like to kind of share that out as well. Okay, on that note then, I think we're moving on to Jonnychipz on the side. So if you watched last week, I thought I'd move into this kind of zone of really just kind of giving you guys a little bit of an update as to what I've got going on the side. So this is kind of related to work, kind of not related to work, but it kind of all falls into the same mixing pot at the end of the day. So bear with me as I struggle to find my my images here. But okay, right, let's just jump on in then. So what we've got is, first thing I want to do is call out the fact that the support I've had on my YouTube channel has been fantastic. I mean, I'm up to over 220 subscribers at the moment, and really what I wanted to say here is that as of last week, which bear with, I'll pull this up, I was on 201. So, you know, to go up from 201 up to 223 within less than a week, I mean, it's fantastic. Obviously, if you've been following the channel, you'll see that the In Conversation with Pete Gallagher were released on Thursday. I absolutely love that chat with Pete. If you're into IoT or you're not into IoT and want to get into IoT, you want to know a bit about the Raspberry Pi, the microbits, coding, development, watch that video. Hopefully it will be that inroads to you to doing what I did, which was really just start getting bits and pieces together and start making things and hooking into a little bit of code, bit of C# or Python. That conversation I had with Pete, I really enjoyed, and I found it really insightful, to the extent I think it went on for about an hour and 20 minutes, and it probably could have gone on for another two hours at that. Please, I urge you to watch that. It's such a cracking video, and even for kids, if you're watching this and you've got kids, I think it's a great. Probably skip over the initial bit with me waffling on to Pete, and get to the bit where Pete's demoing the simulators with the Raspberry Pi, with the microbit, the Arduino. There's some great stuff in there, basically. So you'll see that went out. Obviously, we've uploaded last night the Welsh Azure user group video, so go and check those things out. But yeah, thank you for the support so far with the YouTube. It's really appreciated, and yeah, keep it coming, please. It's great to see. Okay, next bit. For those of you that have been following on the socials, you'll know that I'm aiming. I bought Flight Simulator. I'm aiming to make my own yoke. So I've got all the bits here that I printed off. So as you can see, I'm going for the purple and blue combo. I've currently ordered the necessary bits that I need. So a couple of switches, some neodymium magnets. So yes, I got a pack of 50. I think that was the smallest pack I could find. I only actually need 2. So I'm going to have to do something with 48 magnets. If you've got any ideas, drop me a comment. The microcontroller, which is an Arduino copy, essentially. And then some other bits and pieces, some micro switches, some knobs and buttons. Yeah, you can see I've ordered quite a big pack. I've got a nice little set of drawers behind me now, so I can fill up my drawers, so to speak. Thought I'd treat myself to a new soldering iron kit. The one that I've got at the moment, I use infrequently, is a little bit weathered, so I thought I'd get myself a nice new kit. Why not, eh? Some glue, some Hall sensors. They're interesting. I mean, that's the key to the joystick. Actually, is a Hall sensor to detect the magnetic fluctuations as you turn and move the joystick. So when I get round to receiving all these parts and building it, I'll probably give a little bit of a blog overview, or maybe even do a video. But the idea is that, you know, I get this at the end of the day that will just plug into my PC. It'll be recognised as a joystick, and I can use it to control flight sim. So that's that bit that I'm working on. The other bits and pieces, I suppose, from a photograph point of view, there's my little chest of drawers with all my components in that I got just sat behind me there on the shelf. Had to be done. My desk was just getting ridiculous. And a couple of other things I've been printing this week. A nice set of measuring cubes. I tweeted this last night, and this has taken me, well, there's 2 actually. There's a smaller one and there's a larger one. This has taken me 30 plus hours to print. So yeah, remind me not to do one of those again. It takes a little bit long. And I printed some egg cups for the other half. So she said she wanted some egg cups and hey press. So that's the beauty of a 3D print. So if you haven't, or you don't know what 3D print is all about, I mean, these are the kinds of things that you can do. It's great. They don't have to be grey. You can use it any colour you like. Okay, moving on quickly. Gove, big shout out to Gove. They retweeted one of my photos the other night, which obviously I was very privileged about. You know, just calling out, obviously I use Gove lights behind my acoustic panels there and around the desks around. As you can see in the background on the panels and the shelving there, Gove. I mean, the bookshelf light was a Philips Hue, and the one above me. But I mean, it's really nice to be recognised by the manufacturer of the lights that I'm actually using. So big shout out to Gove. Thanks for retweeting me. Glad you like my setup. Because yeah, I mean, it's great fun. The other thing, so Pico Pi. This was brought to me by the attention again of Pete Gallagher. Watched his stream the other day. So Raspberry Pi have released this microcontroller Pico Pi, which essentially, you know, you can use for various bits and pieces. So literally, they're about £3.60, I think. So I bought. They were limiting. The Pi Hut were limiting these to 1 per customer yesterday. So I got one of those on order. So I think that'll be winging its way to me. I mean, I'm hopeful I can kind of just have a little play with the robot arm, hook it up to that. You know, the downside is there's no network connectivity as I understand it, so we'd have to build that in if we needed it. But this is a great little device, cheap device that we can use to kind of control things in the real world. I've also bought myself a version 2 of the microbit. So for those of you that don't know what a microbit is, have a look. Go on, Google it, YouTube it. But essentially, you can do all sorts of things, and these are great for education and kids to play with and really get into programming. So you've got an array of LEDs, you've got a couple of buttons, I believe there's a speaker, and there's like a gyroscope, like motion sensor in there as well. So there's lots of things that you can do with the microbit, and there's websites dedicated to being able to kind of create these little projects, basically. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in with some of that. The other things that I've been doing this week is really just focusing on some of the AZ220 study. So I've kicked that off a little bit more than I was previously. But I think that's about it from me. So managed to shave a couple of minutes off this week. Thank you so much for watching my episode this week. Thanks for all the support on Twitter and obviously on my YouTube. If you do like this channel, like I say, there are a few rough edges. Undoubtedly, I'm doing all this live, trying to keep the editing down to as small as possible to save a little bit of time. I may have to break into that world at some point soon, but for now, if you do like it, please give me a like, a subscribe, click that little notification button so you get notified when I upload a new video. Currently, we've got Thursdays is the In Conversation With, Fridays is the release of Jonnychipz Weekly. And obviously once a month we've got the Welsh Azure user group content going up on the channel. So, you know, hopefully there's quite a lot of things there to kind of get involved with and just understand. So on that note, thanks all for, so much for watching again. I've been John Lunn, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.